today we will be working on our self-portrait made famous by Pablo Picasso. The first thing you will need to do is to gather your supplies, and that would include a sketchbook, a pencil, eraser, markers, colored pencils, anything you can think of you would need for the planning stages. And then you will need reclaimed and repurposed cardboard, all different kinds, thin, thick, corrugated. The more varieties, the better. Scissors, Sharpie, hot glue, or glue sticks, or Elmer's glue, anything you can use to adhere the project together. You may even use pastels, oils, or chalk variety. Welcome to today's art project. Today we're going to do a self-portrait that was made famous by Pablo Picasso. Now, for those of you who do not know, Pablo Picasso was born this month on the 25th day in 1881. So I think it's very fitting that we're doing a project of his to honor his birthday. He passed away on April 8th, 1973. So as you can see, he led a very long life, and he had a great influence on the art world. He's often called the most influential artist of the 20th century. He's known for co-founding Cubism, creating collages, and probably known for operating in periods. So when we talk about periods, he has a blue period, a rose period, an African-influenced period, Cubism, Crystalism, Neoclassical, and Surrealism. So as you can see, he had quite a background of art that comes from all different kinds of genres. According to his mother, his first words were Pits, a shortening of lapis, the Spanish word for pencil, and from a very young age, 7, Picasso received formal artistic training from his father in figure drawing and oil painting. And from there, he grew to just love all facets of art and dabbled in all of them. As he grew up, he was known, like I said, for co-founding Cubist movement, the invention of constructed sculpture, the co-invention of collage, and a wide variety of styles that he helped develop and explore. He's now regarded as one of the artists who most defined the revolutionary developments in the plastic arts in the opening decades of the 20th century. So today we're going to start working on a self-portrait. We will end up with a finished project that looks something similar like this, but we're going to begin, as everything always does, with creating our plan and sketching it out. I've got a couple helpers over here today that are going to show you their artistic creations that they're putting together, but we're going to create this together, and everybody's is going to look different, but that's the beauty of art. All right, so the first thing we started off doing was drawing out what we thought our self-portrait would look like. Now, I'll be honest, I had to go and look at some pictures of what there was, of what the self-portrait was, to really get a good understanding of what it was supposed to be. So I started off with these 3 drawings here. And I start off with this one because I really liked how this open part, it's like there was areas that needed to be filled in. Because for me, for my self-portrait, I really felt like there's areas of my brain that just still need some knowledge and to be filled in. And I feel that this is a huge time where we have to be listening. So I made ears kind of in the middle of my face here. Then I filled in with my other, elements that I needed, my eyes and my mouth. And then I evolved into this picture down here because I felt if ears and listening were the most important part, I wanted them to be the most dominant trait that you saw when you came onto my picture. So I created this one as a secondary one. And then I thought about, wow, we're really in this period where we really need healing. So I started looking at, man, how could I incorporate like a giant eye in the middle so that you can almost like see the earth and begin kind of healing and seeing it from different perspectives. So I started putting in this third eye kind of concept and a different shaped nose, and the mouth being like the minimalist thing on there, because I just felt right now we need to close and listen and see. So those were the things that I wanted to do. And then these kind of, I thought about, as I looked at this, they kind of made me think of like tears. Tears for some of the areas that I'm just kind of sad sometimes. And this area up here became a very creative space for me. It was almost like it was supposed to be the kind of the chaos that's happening in the world and the different viewpoints that are dividing us all, but they still make one whole piece. So that's what I started coming up with as I started drawing this out. So now the next thing that we have to do is always gather your materials. If you don't gather your materials, you don't know what you have to create with, and it makes your stop and go process a lot more hard to be creative in. So I gathered everything. Now, the fun thing with art is you can use whatever you have. So I gathered everything from some glitter glue that I have, some Sharpies, I had some pencils here, some glue sticks, and then some pastels. I just had a random box over here that I was using. So I brought those all out. And then I started collecting boxes a while ago. And here's the neat thing. I know everybody has boxes coming in from shipping, Amazon, everywhere. We've all been home for a long time. So find your parents and find some good boxes. I use boxes like this to open up and to create my base. Because if you look inside, there's such a great space right here for you to make your face, your base that you want to. What I looked at these pieces as is my additional pieces that I could add things in. Even this had like a different kind of pieces that I could use. So I started unfolding everything. Even something as simple as a cereal box. So let's just say a cereal box is the only thing you have at your house. You do need a scissors. So I just kind of cut out a basic rectangle for myself. All right, once I had my basic rectangle, now I had to look at drawing what I wanted my actual place, my actual shape to be. So for me, mine was a little bit kind of angular at the bottom. I believe I used a ruler, and since I do not have a ruler right here, any straight line will work, right? So now I have at least a straight line that I can operate on. So I drew my straight line here. I put about a 45-degree angle in here. I did to be pretty close to the same. And now I just made a straight line all the way up. Okay, and then with this one, I kind of went out a little. I'm going to come over here at about the same spot and go out over here. Okay, so now I'm going to start kind of cutting out my basic shape, right? And I always keep these little pieces because sometimes they can make interesting additions on your mats. Probably a little bit of a pack rat sometimes, not because I think I want to keep everything, but because I always think everything can become something else. Okay. Come in here just a little bit because I'm going to cut out this piece here. All right, so now I have my basic shape here. Okay. Now I'm going to start thinking about what I want these colors to be. Now in the one that I did, I decided to kind of go with a rainbow coloring. So I made like 7 striped areas. But you can do whatever you want. Some will leave it plain, some will color it one shape, some may just draw random shapes in it and color that a specific color. It really is up to you. So I started off with my pastels and I just kind of started filling in the coloring. And as I kind of got it to the coloring that I wanted to, I took a paper towel and blended it. Now, like I said, I used pastels, but you can also use crayons. You can use colored pencils. If you want, you can even use markers to color it. It really is going to be your choice of what you have around your house. I just use this because I don't often use these. So I thought it was kind of something different to use this time. As you see, I'm not really filling it in all the way because sometimes I'll come back through with another color and then go over all of it. Here's my yellow. So I started coloring in my thing, my background. Let's see, then we want some green in here. Then I went with the blue. Then the purple. I got this dark purple. And then I went with a white up on the top. What I'm going to do this time, and I didn't do this on my one that I originally did, but I am going to kind of come through just with the white over the top of all of this. I want to see what it does to it. And I kind of like the effect it's doing. Just a little. Make sure I have a clean spot. I actually really kind of like how that one came out now. So now I've got to start creating my elements. Now remember, I had a giant eye on there. I had a funky looking nose and a mouth. So I'm going to probably start with my eye because I really want my eye to stick out and I want it to be probably raised. This upper part here, like I said, that's kind of a little chaos piece. So I think what I want to do with that is probably take one piece of cardboard and cut it to be that size and then cut it into random shapes. So I just put him up top, behind, and kind of trace him. Because now when I cut him out, I can just make him into all kinds of shapes. And then I can fill them in with whatever I want. So now I may go that way, maybe this way this time, this. I'm going to make up my top part. I'm kind of piecing these out on here as I put them, decide on them. It's kind of made up my corner. And this part kind of makes up the rest of it. Okay. Maybe that's going to be my eye there. Now I still need a nose and a mouth. So let's see, what do I have for shapes? It could be a good nose. Oh, I like this one this time. Maybe I'll use this time. Use that as a nose. And my mouth, I think I'm going to stick with what I did, which is keep that mouth real small. And I'm just going to cut my random shape up. There we go. Now what I need to do is fill these in with the colors and things that I want. So we're going to take our mouth. I am going to stick with the traditional and make them very, very red. Okay. There we go. Do you want to maybe find a way to put a line through him? And then we've got a color. No, I kind of like the green. I'm going to stick with like a simple color for each one of these. All right, that we're going to save for last. So this, I think I will do one bowl of blue. So now you're basically just filling in with these colors that you want to represent your self-portrait. As you can see, I'm kind of following the same thing that I was kind of doing last time, but adding a couple different twists to it. I think that's the neat thing with art is every time you do it, it comes out a little different. Each one is a new piece. And as you see, these colors are kind of popping a little bit more against the background. This, I kind of like to keep a lot of bright yellow in it because honestly, I think we need sunshine. No matter what we're doing, I think we need lots of sunshine. So that's my bright yellow. Here's my other yellow. Okay, we are in our final little two pieces. I'm going to make one of them red. One of them is going to be orange. one. Red. Here's my red. All right, now this piece. So I want it to be an eye. Let me draw it out first. Let me get that shape going. Okay. One side to the other. And my pupil. So I think I'm going to have my pupil be the earth. I kind of draw like a land thing coming down here, Florida sticking out, land up here, come out, come down a little here. And we got a little land islands, green over here. Okay, so got to fill the land in with green. Water in between. What I like to do is kind of outline my areas that I want to, and then just be able to color freely in the middle, especially when you're working with the cardboard, because as you can see, sometimes you get some really cool textures. And you can also even leave that cardboard on, show the corrugation pieces to add texture on your projects too. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is kind of make it round out and look a little bit more like the earth and the water. So I'm going to kind of take my other blue and fill in some of it. Notice I'm kind of going with the way of the paper now, the cardboard underneath, so that I can fill in some of those areas. And kind of swirling it together. Let's give it a little bit of that ocean. All right, I'm going to go blue over here. Okay, and now I'm going to take a lighter green and kind of go over my earth part. There we go. A little bit of blue right here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take, I think I kind of want yellow to glow, almost like the sun. As normally what would be the white part, but I really want the sun. Okay, now I'm going to kind of go ahead and outline it with a black Sharpie here, because this is one of my elements that I want to stand out. Okay. trying to bring this earth, just make it a little more rounder in this one. Kind of got caught on some of my corrugated pieces. It looks a little off. Okay. So now I can start assembling my elements, right? I kind of piece them all out, see where I'd like them to lay. All right, now I'm going to pull over my hot glue gun. If you're using glue guns, always be careful. They burn, they burn, they burn. Do not touch the glue when you got the little piles in there. It sticks and it burns even more. If you're using a regular glue stick, that is fine. If you're using regular Elmer's glue, that is fine too. Anything that will allow you to adhere to the other surface. So I'm going to put him, mouth right about there. I'm just putting just a little bit of glue on. Now I'm going to skip this guy for a second because I'm going to show you an interesting element with him. I want him to be raised, remember? So I'm going to put these pieces in. And it's funny, I purposely have made them kind of reform on a square together. I don't know, it's just a weird thing for me, right? Now I'm going to start taking in my bright, these are like my rays. Remember how I said don't get the glue on you? Yeah, don't get it on you, it really hurts. All right. Little drops, 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 drops. So I'm going to assemble kind of like my outer ones first, because those red and those orange ones are kind of forming that inner piece for me. Okay, now remember I said I want to do something a little different with this. So I'm looking around to see what pieces I have left. And I have an interesting piece left here from the freezer bag. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm actually going to fold it so that it will make this piece be raised. So maybe if I do this, fold this like this. Okay. Now I'm going to put a nice strip of glue right on here. Go. And I'm going to kind of eye where I want this to go. So I can put this right about here. Now I'm just going to put a dot of glue in between each layer. Kind of building it up, right? Now I'm going to stick my eyepiece on. Kind of eye it where I want it to go. Haha, get it, eye it. Just kidding. Now, remember I had a couple little lines here on mine. So I think what I'm going to do now is actually come through with a blue marker or black marker first. And I'm going to outline some of my elements. Outline my mouth. And I want to outline my nose. Okay. And I think with this, I think I'm honestly just going to do this. I almost want this illusion that this is where it stops. And then I did have, do I still have that blue? Let's see if that's blue. Okay. I still get kind of like my little lines coming out. And then at the end of it, and there you go. There is my self-portrait replicating Picasso's, several different ones. And in a minute here, we're going to show you what our other ones look like. And thank you for joining us for today's art project. Keep creating.